Benchmark, the voice of business. Presented by LMD.
On this week's edition of Benchmark, we have the results of TNS Lanka's exclusive nationwide poll on what Sri Lankans feel about Budget 2012. Then in our feature segment, we turn the spotlight on Gamini Karunaratne, Director and General Manager of the Credit Information Bureau of Sri Lanka, who elaborates on the role of CRIB. And we wrap up this edition by talking to the country manager of TNS Lanka, Kunal Sharma, about opinions aired on TNS's latest island-wide survey. That's the lineup for Benchmark this week. Always a topic of much debate, the government's budget for 2012 was the focus of TNS Lanka's latest survey, and the general public has a lot to say about the Rajapaksa administration's budget proposals. Welcome to Benchmark. It's good to have you with us. I'm Savitri Rodrigo. The latest nationwide poll conducted by TNS Lanka concludes that just over half of the sample population, that's 52%, view the government's budget proposals for 2012 in a positive light. At the same time, 45% of poll participants are not happy with the fiscal budget because they feel that it does not address important issues such as poverty alleviation, the escalating price of goods or the unemployment numbers. And they say, quote, there is no relief for the general public, unquote. Nevertheless, 51% of people taking part in the survey believe that sufficient measures have been taken in Budget 2012 to address poverty in this country. Interestingly, 26% of those interviewed by TNS Lanka say they do not know if the government will meet its income and expenditure targets this year. Some 40% are confident that the Rajapaksa administration will come through, while 34% of survey participants make up the naysayers. There is more harmony on the question of infrastructure development, which is continuing apace in Sri Lanka, which more than 70% of the sample population believe is good for the country, despite the huge costs involved in some of the mega projects being carried out in many parts of the island. The exclusive nationwide survey commissioned by LMD reveals that funds allocated for social welfare is at the top of most Sri Lankans' list of favourite budget provisions. Steps taken to discourage imports such as higher cess, thereby protecting local farmers, is also viewed favourably, as is the allocation of 30 billion rupees for the inter-provincial road network. The reduction of import duty on vehicles for the tourism industry also gets the nod of approval, while survey respondents say funds allocated from the defence budget towards salaries, food and uniforms of military personnel is timely. Some of the other proposals that won the approval of poll participants include the increase of 10% in state sector salaries, the devaluation of the rupee to reduce import costs and increase export revenue, and the decision to discontinue the sale of state land to the private sector and lease out on a long-term basis. On the other hand, respondents feel that there were many issues that were not satisfactorily addressed in Budget 2012. In particular, they feel that some provisions could have been made about finding suitable employment for our university graduates. Equally important, they say, is the issue of the escalating price of goods and services, leaving many Sri Lankans in dire straits. Survey participants say that reducing unemployment, improving the lifestyle of private sector workers and increasing the budgetary allocation for the education sector should also have been adequately addressed in the government's budget proposals. Poll participants also point out that reducing the country's heavy burden of debt, cutting back on the defence budget, improving Sri Lanka's healthcare sector and the welfare of the farmer community, perhaps by introducing a pension scheme, are all vital issues that should have been addressed in Budget 2012. TNS Lanka's country manager Kunal Sharma will join us later in the program to analyse the results of this nationwide exclusive poll. Up next, the Director and General Manager of CRIB finds himself in the hot seat. Gamini Karunaratne will shed some light on the services and facilities that CRIB offers to the general public.